Can you read the kanji above my head? Well, I can't, so bye. What's going on here is that the term above my head is not a real word. It looks like a real word, and as a sociolinguist, I'm obligated to state that people are using it, therefore it is a real word. But while the string of text, which I guess should be read as Sekinin Tenkan, looks like a real word, it is not one that actually appears in dictionaries. And while I've always said that calling the terms that I talk about in these videos slang terms is a bit inappropriate, a bit inaccurate, it's doubly so here, as whether or not this is a slang term, whether or not this is something that people are using intentionally, is a question of debate. So let's get into it. Officially, on paper, Sekinin Tenkan is a misspelling or misunderstanding of the term Sekinin Tenka. So ka without the n, which is written, of course, with one change in the kanji. This term is a real term, as in it is one that appears in dictionaries, etc., and not like slang dictionaries, but official ones, and means to pass blame. You can see an example here where someone talks about, passing blame, or an example here. These are all normal. This would not be considered slang. I wouldn't say it's a super common term. It has that kind of Yoji Jukugo feel to it, but it is a normal phrase that is used and recognized in Japanese. Indeed, if you want, you can even split it apart like this person did with Sekinin o something tenkashimasu. Now, the error, though, of changing this to tenkan is recognized online by a few sources, such as dictionaries that focus on online things. The problem is they don't state if this is intentional and what it's supposed to be read as. That is, we don't know if people who are using this string of kanji are pronouncing it as tenkan or tenka. Like, do they actually know the real word and they've just made a typo because they don't remember the more obscure kanji? Or do they actually think it is tenkan? We're not sure. For instance, while Weblio sources a dictionary that does have a definition of this, noting that it is a mistaken use of the tenka version, they do not provide an actual reading for it. In contrast, explanations on websites like MyNavi do state that this is read as tenkan. Pixiv then, confusingly, states under the article for this word that it is Sekinin Tenkan dewa arimasen, and that Sekinin Tenka is correct. But on the actual page for Sekinin Tenka, at the bottom, they note that the reading of Sekinin Tenkan is common because of intonation, etc. So they state that's not what it is, but then on the other page that they link you to, they read it as Sekinin Tenkan, which is, again, confusing. Although, yes, at the end of that, they do state that this is a mistake, so be careful. The issue is, though, is this actually a mistake, or are people intentionally using Sekinin Tenkan as a bit of online play? As I'm sure you know, the internet is a place where people play fast and loose with spelling, and this often becomes a source of social consternation. For instance, in English, a lot of people worry about people online not using their correctly. Now, while there are things out there that do make me worry about literacy rates, this is not one of them, because as books like this one that study the social habits of people online note, oftentimes not caring about spelling, not caring about these things, is a signal in online communities that you are part of the community or that you're writing in kind of a casual, chill style. And this, of course, clashes with contemporary understandings, hence studies finding across many different languages that older people often write with punctuation and younger people don't, and the mismatch there stresses each group out. So in this possibility then, the use of Sekinin Tenkan can be intentional, is that people are aware that it's a mistake, but by using it, they're signaling that they're part of this online community. That possibility is something we have to recognize. So for instance, in a post like this, which critiques people for using Sekinin Tenkan and states that it's showing their lack of intelligence, that's certainly a possibility that they don't know the right word. But there's also a possibility here that they do, and that this use is, again, part of that online community use. That said, it's not like we're interviewing these people, so we don't really know. Is it a slang word? Is it just an error that keeps popping up? Well, I'd say it kind of goes between both, with some people using it online intentionally and other people just making this mistake over and over and over again. And indeed, how long have they been making this mistake? Well, if you thought I was going to say at least since 2007 or so, because that's the farthest back Twitter goes, yeah, I can show that. But I can go back further. And if you watch a lot of my videos, you say, aha, he's going to say something like the early 2000s, because that's how far Google goes back. Yeah, I can find websites from Google using this around 2000. But actually, we can go further, because this website here was published in 1996, and it has the error on it. And here's a PDF from 1987 that has this error on it. So there's nothing new about this mistake in Japanese. It could have been going on for hundreds of years as far as I know. The only thing that's new is that online communities are aware of it and making Pixiv entries on it, etc. Indeed, it's even being used like wara or darkness smiling in parentheses next to posts, which again really makes me feel like this is an intentional, aware form of internet play. Even if it did spawn from just an understandable but ultimately incorrect mistake. But now that you know better, if you do make this error, don't try to Sekinin Tenkan that off to me.